Come on, let's be positive. Just stop right there. No negativity. Let's be positive. LBP, let's be positive.
Bulla! Let's be positive, Gunny!
Oh, let's be positive, Martin. If New Zealand rugby isn't fit for purpose, what do you reckon Australian rugby is? It's the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. It's the Otago Rugby Union. It's the Southern Steel. It may even have dropped as low as Manchester United. I'll tell you what.
Oh. See, that's unnecessary. You didn't need to throw that one in. We were having fun up until then.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have thrown that one in. I'm calling for an inquiry, a review, and a lot of mirrors for Australian rugby players and administrators to take some time to look at. Come on. What happened? This is the World Cup, Martin.
Eddie Jones, hang on, I'll tell you what happened, mate. Eddie Jones, you dominated, mate. You scored 2 tries to 1, mate.
Yeah, we also gave away 18 penalties, which in the end turned out to be the difference, didn't it?
It did.
Hey?
Yeah, he didn't mention that. And he didn't mention that 11 of them were at the breakdown, where you just constantly held the ball. The rule is, when you get to the ground as a tackler, you got to release the ball. It's pretty clear, isn't it?
We couldn't beat them, and so we tried to cheat our way to a victory over Fiji at the breakdown. I mean, can you even believe it? That's 6 from 7 we've lost under Eddie. I wonder what his salary is and how he looks at himself now. Look, every week he's told us we're getting better. Wait for it. We're on the way. We're almost there. Well, we were almost there, weren't we, today?
Last week when you beat Georgia, he turns up at a press conference. He's got his shirt unbuttoned to the navel. He's got a chain like, MC Hammer would wear, mate. He's got a collar wider than my old leisure suits, which I know you're very familiar with. And he swaggers in there saying, "Where's that Pommy guy? He's not here. You only turn up when we lose, mate." You went a bit early, Ed. It was only Georgia, pal. And now Fiji have put you in a position where you've got to beat Wales, mate. You've got to beat Wales.
Oh, and Wales did Fiji a bit of a job the other morning. So, I mean, honestly, I can't convince myself that we are going to beat Wales. I just think to myself, how are we going to get better? I mean, where are we going to get better? If we couldn't win the breakdown against Fiji, can we beat Wales?
No, no. The answer is no. This says, look, I thought the Wales-Fiji game set the World Cup alive because it was a hell of a contest. But this is the result that everyone needs, a Tier 1 nation losing. And we were talking before the World Cup, mate, and the positive thing about this, and I can be positive this side of the microphone, is we were all hoping that one of the South Pacific sides would make it through to the quarterfinals and then maybe do a Morocco at the Football World Cup last year and make it through to the semi-finals. Look, how can you... No one hates on this Fijian side, Matt. I mean, I know that every Aussie will be disappointed, but how can you hate the sheer love and joy that they bring to every game of 7s or 15s they play?
Well, truth be known, Martin, is it's a disappointing result when you're wanting that team to win if you support them. But I didn't think they could make it past quarterfinals anyway. And if we were going to lose to anyone, why not Fiji? I mean, simply, they outplayed, they took the kicks, put 22 points on the board. They scored a pretty opportunistic try, but it was from another Australian mistake, and we just don't look like we're good enough to do it anyway. So, yes, we do need these results at these tournaments because it just gives other sides hope, doesn't it? You think to yourself, if you just roll through and France put, 70 on Uruguay and, Chile can't win and Portugal get flogged.
Yeah, and Romania
Tonga
get flogged.
And Romania, 76 points against South Africa. Japan sort of put up a bit of a fight for England early, but, were well beaten in the end. I mean, someone's got to do it. You always see at least one. And I think to myself, as much as many will say the Japanese victory over South Africa was a better one, the Fiji result over Australia, it just rubs salt into the wounds and it shows Australia that they are nowhere even near where Eddie thinks they are. Not even close.
Let's be positive about the Wars, because you sent me a text after that result on Saturday night, and I started the show by quoting you, mate. They were very good tonight. I love that one. The start doesn't get much better. Brisbane next week, got to give them a chance. Now, I gave the Warriors zero chance prior to the Newcastle game, but what I loved about that is that you need to play your best football and you need to go up a notch at finals time. Now, we saw Penrith do that to the Warriors a couple of weeks ago, right? And I didn't know whether this team had it in them because they have had no finals experience at all. But they did go up a level. The intensity of that first 10 minutes, the defence, the sheer ferocity and pace of the game, that's finals football, Matt. That must give them confidence now going to Suncorp.
The ability to continue the role they started with was just quite incredible. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then even when Newcastle sort of gathered themselves, because it was like a blitzkrieg at the start. I mean, no one knew what was going on. And then the Knights did get a bit of ball and they started to make some headway and get some momentum. They've had a good pack of forwards. The thing about the Knights over the 10 unbeaten weeks is that they've had an ability with a very good back line to open up other sides and score some good tries. And the Warriors came in with defence and they just shut it down. The Knights didn't look likely. And so what I have to say is if they can play anywhere near that level against the Broncos, they only need kind of a start like they had, and the Broncos will get rattled as well. I think the Broncos will be expecting to beat the Warriors. But I tell you what, doesn't this lift your spirits? I mean, I've had the worst NRL season ever, and it felt like I was watching another round of the NRL with that Australian loss to Fiji. But to see the Warriors come from where they have, to really be, you have to say, at their best, and with Sean Johnson, he didn't break the line like he did in previous games, but he dominated the game. They didn't know how to deal with him. And if he can play that well against Brisbane, you have to give them a chance. You have to.
That atmos, mate. You've been in New Zealand a hell of a long time, you know, I'm trying to get my head around it. And say in terms of Australian sport, I know that the AFL crowds go berserk. I know that there's a few cranks at some of the A-League matches. You know, some of the NRL crowds, you know, especially up in, you know, the far north, get a bit feral and so forth. But just the sheer fun and enjoyment that emanated out of the television set watching the Warriors. I mean, can you compare it to anything you've seen in New Zealand before?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And, you know, I did have doubts whether or not they'd made the wrong decision playing it out at Penrose Park. To be honest, I thought, you know, there's an opportunity here for possibly the biggest rugby league crowd they've ever had in the country for this game if they had moved it to Eden Park. And they sold it out, you know, before even members had the chance to get tickets. So it was phenomenal. A sellout crowd, 26,000+ people. The atmosphere, in the end, I think is a decision that was the right one. You know, I didn't think it was, but after watching the game, look, I've been out there and I spent a lot of years on the sideline down there, and I don't think I've been anywhere near that atmosphere. Not at a New Zealand sporting crowd. The thing with the, and it's a huge Polynesian support base for the Warriors, is that they do know how to have fun down there, Martin. And it's lighthearted, it's humorous, they love their signs, they love their wars. And there's amazing up the wars this year. I don't even know where it came from, but it's just been fantastic. And, yeah, look, I don't think it gets much better than that. Like, I don't think it would have been that good at Eden Park, even with double that amount of people. So Penrose Park, I mean, nightmare to get to, nightmare to get away from. You know, it's a little bit behind the times, but I tell you what, it's all about the fans, isn't it? And they delivered 7 tries, the Warriors. 6 out of 7 conversions. Absolutely magnificent, mate.
Finally, I mean, let's be positive. And I haven't had any, you know, I don't want to talk about the Premier League, mate. I really don't. I don't want to talk about it one little bit. But I know that I'm trying to just leave you on a happy note because at least your team's going great guns.
Oh, our team's going great guns. Yeah. If we continue this role, we'll put ourselves in a position to do very well this year. But I'll tell you what, I'm not that interested in that either. I wanted to just mention another great result from the weekend because I love this bloke. Ryan Fox produces an amazing round of golf for probably his biggest career win.
Yep, definitely.
After a hideous start and not starting the day ahead, comes home to win that. You could see him at the final hole, how delighted he was. And, great sporting heritage here. But Foxy has sprouted off from his old man and he's made himself his own man. And I love seeing Kiwis continue what is a terrific history in golf. Not dozens and dozens of tournament victories, but big ones. And I think it just lifts everyone. So Foxy rounds out a fantastic weekend.